Yes, all of that is happening.
Yeah.
You have admitted that at one time you were a cynic, you know, in terms of...
No, I didn't admit I was a cynic.
Well, you talked about how, you know, democracy could not thrive, or we're not ripe for democracy in 1999.
Yeah.
And you said that not because you were a politician, I believe.
No, not at all.
Exactly. So there are many Nigerians who you had whatever, maybe coming from your own experience and certain things that you had seen, you didn't think were ripe. There are many other ordinary Nigerians who are neither politicians nor military men who believe that, you know, we've seen this before. We're just still cynical. They're still reserved about it in terms of having a national confab. What do you think can be done to remove that kind of cynicism from, you know, people like that?
I think as much as possible, what I think should be done as much as possible, because already they are picking, you have a situation where representing my profession, you have chosen, is it 3 or so? And then...
That's the MBA.
The MBA now.
I think you have one representative.
Only one. I mean, how can that be? And then you have religious groupings having a bigger representation.
There could be lawyers there.
It doesn't matter. They are not representing lawyers. They are representing religious groupings. You see, the one major problem we have in this country is about this elevation. I mean, the teaming up of faiths with the state. No, they don't seem to appreciate the fact that, yes, because the faith should confront the state when the state is not being properly run. But now you have a situation where the state and faith have marched together. And so the masses are trampled upon. You have a situation, I keep arguing this with anybody who cares to listen. Why should government sponsor people on Hajj and on to Jerusalem? Why? When our schools are bad, our roads are bad, and when they do that, are they doing it because they believe in God or they fear God? They are doing it simply because they need to curry the favor of the religions. People no longer talk about Christianity, they talk about churches. People no longer talk about Islam. They look at Boko Haram.
You'll be amazed if they want to amend that part of the law. You see the opposition.
Incidentally, there's no need for amendment. The constitution says we are a secular state. The state does not recognize any religion.
Can they just stop it without any human?
Because what they are doing is illegal, it's unlawful.
You know,
do you then agree with some people, Sari Sulaiman, do you then agree with some people who say that it's not our constitution, it is us as a people?
Yes, it is us.
Because if you say that our constitution in that particular matter doesn't need any amendment, and we're saying that we flagrantly disregarded it in that respect, you know, how much more, how are we so sure that when we come up with the most beautiful laws that we will follow it?
It is because the constitution as presently constituted, you see how big our constitution is. It's so big, so voluminous. The American constitution is so tiny. Why is the state better run there than here? Because we talk too much, we write too much.
You know, talking about writings, now, I was still on the point of law. I'm looking at this headline, Sanusi files fresh suit, challenges suspension. Very briefly, if we can talk on some of those issues, because we've had so many legal minds who come on this particular matter, and perhaps that explains why this is so voluminous.
Yes. Now, the Sanusi issue, if I may just harp on that a bit, because I've had all sorts of arguments and counter-arguments.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit. Now, some people have come on air to say the president, what he has done is totally illegal. He has no right, he cannot remove, he cannot suspend, he must serve out his tenure. That is absolutely false. It is not true that the president cannot hire and fire a CBN governor. Now, let me lay the proper foundation. The CBN Act, under which the governor was appointed, is not about Sanusi now. It's about the office. Somebody has the power to appoint. That's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's not just appointing the governor. He has the power to appoint the deputy governors and the directors. And a president exercises that power. Now, that is an enactment of the parliament, of our parliament. It's a law that was made by the National Assembly. Now, the CBN Act, as it stands, is not the only law that regulates appointment and firing or removal of a governor or deputy governor. you have to read this. You can't read it in isolation, because when you look at the particular section that talks about where the governor will cease to be governor, where the governor will stop being a governor, or where the governor will be removed, because there are about 3 different categories of situations where the governor would have to go. I know that as at 1999, the CBN Act of up to 1999 did not include a provision for the removal by the president of the federal, by the president who appointed him. There was no such thing. It stopped at it starts from A to E. Now, in 2007, the politicians themselves, they added F for failure. They added the F, which now talks about the president removing, provided that there's a proviso to that F, which is that he has to go to Senate to approve any removal. That is the law, that is the CBN Act. So most people are looking at that subsection F in isolation. They keep on saying, oh, he has removed him, he has no such power because he must first of all go to Senate. The provision of the section that talks about removal or cessation of continuance in office of the governor, they are mutually exclusive. One of them is enough for the governor to be removed. For instance, if the governor becomes of unsound mind, does the president have to go to the Senate? If the governor is guilty of serious misconduct in office, he doesn't have to go to the Senate. If the president is associated chartered institute of bankers, for instance, if they say this man is no longer fit and proper to be our member, he cannot be governor again. If the governor becomes a politician, he becomes a member of the House of Assembly, does the president have to go to automatically? This thing, they come into effect immediately. But beyond that, I brought this Bible. Now, there is something they call, it is the dictionary, is the dictionary for all laws in Nigeria. It's called the Interpretation Act. I didn't want to just paraphrase because people might misquote me. So I'm quoting from the law directly now. Now, you have to read this together with any enactment, including the Constitution. Whenever there's any word or issue that comes up for interpretation, it is not possible for an enactment, for the CBN Act, for instance, to have every provision to cover all ground. So, the Interpretation Act does the job. There are certain things that may not be in certain enactments. This is what you then refer to. Now, this one applies to all laws, including the Constitution. It is I call it a statute of general application, and section 11 on appointment, because some people have talked about it, but they did not hit it on the head the way I would have loved them to. It says, where an enactment, section 11(1), where an enactment confers a power to appoint a person either to an office or to exercise any function, whether for specified period or not, the power includes A, power to appoint a person by name or to appoint the holder from time to time of a particular office, B, power to remove or suspend him. Are you with me? Now, that's the one I need. So, what the president has done is to suspend. This law, this act says he has the power to remove or suspend. And it says so even without reference to the Senate. That Mr. President has decided to suspend and then put the name of somebody forward. It's not an infraction of any law.
Could you explain C to us? Because it looks as though
C says power exercised in a manner and subject to limitations and conditions, if any, applicable to the power to appoint, to reappoint or reinstate him, to appoint a person to act in his place, either generally or in regard to specified functions during such time as is considered expedient by the authority in whom the power of appointment in question. This simply says that, well, after removing or suspending, you can put him back. You can put somebody.
Was that what the president was trying to explain in his media chat?
Which he didn't explain well, and that's the fault of the Attorney General of the Federation. The president should not even talk about it. It's the Attorney General that should explain to the Nigerian people, so that this misconception, this deliberate distortion of the provisions of the law should stop. I am not interested in the morality behind it, the politics behind it. Well, there is some politics. Otherwise, why would Mr. President quickly? Well, they say it started from 2012. And Mr. President was trying to apply the same principles that apply to Odua. Probably that, okay, I don't want to disturb the apple cart. Maybe he didn't act on time. Now, but my question is, if Mr. President could act so fast as to suspend a governor that is suspected of having committed certain infractions, why is the group managing director of NNPC still there? If the issue is, oh, there's some money missing, $6 billion, $20 billion, $40 billion, 48, 49, whatever amount. If the reason why you have suspended is, oh, he should not preside as the chairman of the board of the CBN while investigations are going on, then the group managing director of NNPC has no business being there until the external audit or the external auditors conclude their job.
Okay, so it means we don't need any such thing as maybe a Petroleum Reporting Council of Nigeria to come up with anything before he can.
We need them. They've come up with it. He has acted on it. What I'm saying is that all this issue about going to National Assembly and all that, you see, the section, the F part of this thing, people assume that that's the one he acted on. I am saying, based on the reporting council, what the report they submitted, he probably felt, oh my God, this is serious infraction. This is a grave misconduct. They are impeachable offenses if it was against the president. Now, okay, go home and sin no more. And that's what has happened. But well, like Chief Zebudaya says in News Masquerade, what are good for the goose are good for the gooseherd.
All right.
It should apply across board.
Mr. John Oloyede is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning. Yes. We're back after this. Join us again.